Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to introduce you to all the books I read in August. Now, I got them right here. I say let's do this chronologically. I have not prepared anything I want to say for any of these books, so let's see how this goes, shall we? Okay, starting off with the first book I read this month. As you can see, this is The Fire by Katherine Neville. Now, this is the sequel to the novel called The Eight. And as a little fun fact on the side, between the first and the second book, there were 20 years of waiting for any fans involved. So I'm glad I did not read the first part 20 years ago. That's almost impossible considering my age. But anyways, so what you have to know about this book, or like about my feelings for this book, is the following. I should have liked this book a lot. Like, it actually has everything I like. This is a very Dan Brown kind of book, and that's not just me saying that. Honestly, in every single of these reviews, it says like, if you liked Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code, you will like this book. And I do agree with that, and personally I did enjoy the Dan Brown books quite a lot. If you like this international treasure hunt vibe that revolves around historical objects that are being sought after because they're so valuable or have like a historic significance in our time, as do the Dan Brown novels have, this should be right up your alley. It's like basically the exact same, which made me think that I should enjoy this. And I can't really even say that I did not enjoy it, but like, for some reason the stars for me, myself and I, and this book did not align. Like, it should have been enjoyable for me to read this, but in reality it took me forever to finish this because I could for some reason not concentrate on like more than 2 pages at a time, which is why like the first read of my month, it took me such a long time that I did not get to read that much more. But that doesn't mean that this book was per se bad. I think it was just like not the right time for me to read this right now. Maybe plus theoretically, I guess I can always advise you to maybe read the first book before you read a sequel, because like, yeah, fun fact, I have not read The Eight, because when I picked this up at like the secondhand bookshop, I wanted to pick up like the first one, The Eight, but they didn't have that. They only had the second one. So I was like, hell, how complicated could it be? This also has like a lot of historical references, as in like actual figures of the history are like involved in the plotline of this book, because like this book jumps in between like scenes in the past and scenes in the present, and the scenes in the past are like revolving around actual historical figures that you might know, such as Napoleon or like Lord Byron. Honestly, like the first time I like read oh yeah, and he was Lord Byron, I kind of like had to laugh out loud. I was like, nah, she did not include Lord Byron in her plotline, did she? But she did, let me tell you. For some reason, while I was reading it right here, right now, I did not enjoy it overly. But then again, I don't think it's the fault of this book. It was just like not the right moment in time for me to read this. So that was the first book I read this month. Moving on to, ooh yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about this. The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. Now this, I think, has been talked about quite a lot on BookTube. Like, a lot of people have been reading this. Oh, and this is actually the perfect opportunity to talk about this, because the second part to this is coming out this month. I'm not quite sure. I think it's like the 20th of September or something, but the second part is already coming out, and this has only been published like September. Wait, does that make sense? Yeah, September 2020. So like a year later already the next book is coming out. And I didn't plan that. I didn't plan to only read this one now because I knew the second one would be coming out right now. That was a coincidence, but I'm super glad about it, because that means the sequel is coming right up. So The Thursday Murder Club is a murder mystery, just the way I like them. And I talked about that in my recent YA murder mystery recommendations, a video that I prefer somewhat like light or innocent or traditional murder mysteries that are not centered around like too much the depiction of violence, brutality, all of that. And in that sense, this was right up my alley. Like, our 4 protagonists are people who are living in a retired home. So we have elderly people as protagonists of this book. They are somewhat innocently looking at everything that is happening, at like the murder that is taking place that now they want to solve. And I mean, of course, also that they're like really bad at times, like with technology or anything, or anything like that. Gives it like at times this really like naive but really charming touch, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, this the Thursday Murder Club is an old-fashioned, even though it takes place in like 2020 or like 2019, like in modern place and time, but it felt like one of these like traditional murder mysteries, in the sense that it was, yeah, really charming, you could almost say. Like all of the protagonists, they are super cute. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to the second part. Now, moving on to the classic I read this month, and that is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I really like this cover. Now, actually, I first picked up this. This is also Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, but this is the Spanish version. Like, I walked past a secondhand bookshop and I went inside, and they had tons of these little, wait, how do I have to do this? Classics. And I thought they were so cute, so I picked this up and I started reading Wuthering Heights in Spanish. But then I was like, okay, this is kind of stupid. Why would I read this English classic in Spanish when I can read it in English? Like, because in general, I love translations, love that they exist, of course, but if you can read a book in the original language it was written in, obviously always go for the original. Because, like, I mean, lost in translation is a term for a reason, kind of. So it makes sense to read a book in the original language if you know how to do that. So that is why, even though I had started reading Wuthering Heights in the Spanish version, I did end up also picking up the English version, and I finished the English one, and I have not yet finished the Spanish one. Like, on camera, it doesn't even look like I started it. I swear I did, but oh. Wait, 82? How am I on page 82? Well, yeah, I guess I am on page 82 of... How many pages are there, though? Oh, oh shit, 525. This looks so small. How are there 525 pages in this one? So, because I started it, I kind of want to finish it in Spanish as well, but might take me a couple of years, I'm not gonna lie. But okay, anyways, Wuthering Heights, I mean, it's a classic, so some of you might have already like heard about it. So I might not have to say too much about this, but I can say this came in as a real surprise. And what I mean by that is, last semester I took an entire lecture on the Victorian novel. Now, Wuthering Heights is a Victorian novel, and in one of our like lecture sessions we also talked about the Bronte sisters, because you cannot have a lecture on the Victorian novel without talking about the Bronte sisters. And we also like touched on the plot of Wuthering Heights, but apparently I was not paying attention, because like this book was not what I thought it was gonna be at all, or like not at all, but so it is a love story. The book is a love story between Katherine and Heathcliff, and the way I remembered it from that lecture, I thought like, okay, they are grown up, they're not brothers and sister. Oh my god, obviously not, it's a love story, okay, but they grow up together, but Heathcliff is kind of like adopted, so they grow up together but they're not related, just pointing that out, right? And I thought the plot was going to be like, okay, so they grow up together and they fall in love, but like her parents don't want them together because he's like from a different background and from a different class, plus he's also supposed to be of a different color. And in this book, at that time, that was seen as something bad. And so her parents also wouldn't want them to be together on that account. And so I thought the story was going to be like, okay, they're like in love, but they can't be together because her parents would never consent to that. And so, yeah, they're like pining for each other all their lifetime without ever being able to be together, kind of. That's what I thought this book was going to be about. Turns out it wasn't. So like the premises was right. We have like Katherine and Heathcliff growing up together, and yes, kind of like falling in love, but more like loving each other in a soulmate kind of sense, but also of course like he falls in love with her in like a romantical sense, and she kind of also loves him like that, but it's complicated. It always is, okay. But I was so surprised that the characters in here, and especially like these main characters, were so flawed. They were like really messed up people in their own sense, with like a lot of bad attributes, especially Heathcliff. I went into this novel expecting kind of like that both of them would be like presented as these like, well, yeah, in the Victorian style, these like perfect people. He, like, her being like this lady, this perfect lady, him being like this perfect gentleman, and even though they are like all mannered and polite and perfect, etc., they can't be together. But that's not what this was at all. We have a really flawed protagonist that we therefore don't like really fall in love with. So it's not like, oh my god, like of course you would have to root for them. They are both like really messed up in their own kind of way, and it's also like not a happy ending kind of thing, not at all. Like, I don't know, like this book was not what I was expecting on so many accounts that I was very pleasantly surprised, because I think some people, they might be anti-classics or like not interested in reading classics on the account that you often already know what the story is going to be about, because like with classics, by like hearsay, you already know what they're about or how they're gonna end, right? And so I get it when people are like, oh, okay, I'm not really interested in reading that because I already know like what's gonna happen, etc. And well, it was not the case for me right here, right now at all, because I thought I knew what this was gonna be, and it turned out to be so much more. So hell yeah, very, very pleasantly surprised. Okay, my camera is shaking. Now, the next book I read is the #1 Ladies Detective Agency by Alexander McCall Smith. I think this is only the first part in an entire series. This was a fairly quick read and like has a lot of short chapters. And this is about Mrs. Ramotwe and how she opens up her own detective agency, a ladies detective agency in Botswana. And well, the book is about some of the first cases she takes on, but during that we also learn about like her past and how she came into this position in which she now opens up her own detective agency. So I really liked this. I thought it was really cute. I also appreciated the fact that it like for once did not take place in like, well, England or America, because like most books take place in either England or America or like somewhere else in Europe. And so I appreciated the fact that this took place in Africa, in Botswana. I would have appreciated it even more if the author would have actually been from Botswana, but no, the author is a very white man. A very white man. Yeah, I would have appreciated if they would have clarified in that little author's biography if he actually ever lived in Botswana, because we do have a lot, I don't know, descriptions of like what the Botswanian, is that the right adjective, like way of life, etc. And I guess I could just look this up on the internet, but they also just should have put it in like the author biography. Because I don't know how to feel about these descriptions, because I don't know if they're authentic. Does this man actually know what he's talking about, or does he not? I mean, I liked it, but I would have liked it more if it had been written by a woman from Botswana. And that might make me a, I don't know, hypocrite or whatever, but I stand by my opinion. Okay. The next book I read was The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, another murder mystery. So my god, what's his name? Yeah, Christopher. Our protagonist, Christopher, is a British teen with autism, and he takes it upon himself to solve the curious incident of the dog at nighttime, in the nighttime. I always say at. But about a third of the way into the book, we learn that this murder of the dog is connected to an even more important subject in Christopher's life, which I will not divulge right here. So I really enjoyed this, and I really appreciated like his unique point of view, and like because this has been like award-winning and praised, etc. So by that I take it that the description of the author of like this autistic boy's point of view is accurate. And that was like really, I don't know fascinating to read about. Plus, I would claim that I would not be interested in reading a book written out of the perspective of like your average 16-year-old teenager and what he thinks about all day. But this description of what Christopher thinks about all day, I actually enjoyed. Okay. Now, last but not least, I swear no month is going past without me reading an Agatha Christie novel. Honestly, no month. So the book I read of her this month is Muerte, bajo, which means murder under the sun. This is like one of the most well-known of her novels because it has been turned into a movie starring what's his name? Peter Ustinov in the role of Poirot. I will insert a little picture right here. In my Kitty vlog, I falsely said that this takes place on a Greek island. Only in the movie it takes place on a Greek island. In the novel, the plot takes place on a British island. Which, who would ever go on vacation on a British island? I mean, Britain itself is per se an island, so... Was that funny? Maybe not, I don't know. So this is about a murder taking place on a picture-perfect summer vacation island in Britain, not Greece, I guess. And Hercule Poirot is right there at the scene of the crime, trying to solve what's going on, basically. I don't know. I don't really need to say much more. But yeah, I really enjoyed reading this. I especially enjoyed reading this because I also read it in parts at the beach. And since it takes place on an island and the murder is taking place at the beach, this felt fitting. I know that that one book, I think it's literally called Beach Read, has been like all over the internet, or like the book section of the internet, and like a lot of people have been reading it this summer. And I know now it's already September, but maybe let's say it's still summer. If you're looking like for another summer or like beach read this as well. This is definitely a beach read as well, but like a murder mystery beach read. And like that other book, the Beach Read, sounds pretty boring, so you should rather check out this one. You're welcome. So these were the 7 books I read this month, even though like this I only started, but I finished it in another language. Does that count as 1 book, as 2 books? You tell me. But I did enjoy all of them, except maybe the first one. But yeah, it wasn't the book's fault. It was just like not the right timing, I guess. But so much for that. Gosh, oh my god. This video is so long. I'm gonna have to edit that like crazy. Honestly, I should start to write out scripts for my videos because I'm just like rambling and never really sure what I should say about these books. And did I even do any of these books justice? Probably not, but maybe you're still interested in checking any of them out. So I will see you in my next video. Thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, bye.